Welcome to the Volvo Ocean Race 2014-15. After 118 days of competition, our teams have reached our fourth stopover, the Chinese city of Sanya. The southernmost city of Hainan Island has been welcoming travellers for centuries. It's now the second time the Volvo Ocean Race has visited this tropical tourist destination. The exotic sights, the warm weather and the city's enthusiasm for the race will ensure it won't be the last. The Volvo Ocean Race has repaid the welcome, opening the race village for the last 2 weeks and giving everyone a chance to take a closer look at the teams, their boats, or just to enjoy the atmosphere. The fleet has raced through 3 oceans and twice crossed the equator to reach this 2,000-year-old city. Today, we'll see our 4th import competition, the Team Vestas Wind Import Race Sanya, as the yachts compete in front of the beaches of Yaolong Bay and the city of Sanya. I'm Niall Mayan, and joining me for the commentary today, Richard Mason, Team SCA Shore Manager and a 4-time competitor in the Volvo Ocean Race. Now, Richard, you've sailed in Sanya before. What's it like to race here?
Oh, it's a beautiful venue to be racing in, beautiful flat water out here, and it's a very tricky venue from a sort of wind standpoint with the geography of the hills behind us here. It makes the wind bend round, causing it to sort of change from left to right over the racetrack in front of us here. So it'll be a very tricky day. We'll see some big changes, and it's going to be a real fingertip head. You're keeping your head out of the boat sailing day, so it'll be it should be very interesting, exciting. And
with all your experience, how does this edition of the Volvo Ocean Race compare to the past?
Oh, it's amazing. It's just so close. I think is the key thing with this. The boats are inside of one another the whole time. It's very telling when you talk to the sailors coming off the boats that they're very mentally stressed because they just can't let up at any time or a point during the day. And I think obviously there's a lot of physical challenges in this race, but when you're dealing with this level of competition for such long periods of time, the mental side of it is just something else. And we're seeing in the finishes here, you've got boats finishing within seconds of one another, changing places the whole time at sea. We've had 3 stopovers and 3 race leaders. It's just brilliant.
And obviously you've got your favourite team, of course, but is there any team that's just making that standout performance for you?
Well, I think everyone's certainly glowing at different times, and you can't really shy away from what the Da Fong guys are doing at the moment. Is fantastic, the way they're performing on the water and where they've come from. But that being said, it's very tight at the top. We've seen all the teams shine at different times. There's an awful long way to go in this yacht race, and I think we're going to see a lot of changes in the leaders and in the coming legs. We've got the big stuff. We've got the long leg down to Auckland there. It's a long reaching leg that could see a bit of pressure and breeze as they get towards Auckland. And of course then after that, that's the big one. It's down south, Cape Horn. That's what this race is all about. That is life at the extreme. That's
Absolutely.
Why we do it.
Yeah. Well, let's take a little bit of a look at all the action that's brought us up to this point. The first 3 legs of this year's Volvo Ocean Race have each been won by different teams. Leg 1 from Alicante to Cape Town went to Abu Dhabi. Skipper Ian Walker elated with his performance. Next, Team Brunel and skipper Bauer Becking proved themselves a real contender for overall victory with a first in Leg 2. Now, the Chinese sailors on board Dongfeng Race Team were able to proudly sail into their home waters with a convincing win here in Sanya after Leg 3. Team Vestas Wind weren't competing in the leg after their disastrous grounding on Leg 2. The crew was safely rescued and quickly launched the ambitious challenge to salvage their boat and rejoin the race. A team went back to the St. Brandon Reef and everything was recovered. The collision had caused massive damage, but after shipping the boat to a waiting survey team, a repair was deemed possible. After a long journey all over Europe, the work has finally begun to get the boat back to full speed. Leg 3 was predictably light and tough, the sailors often having to venture underneath the water to clear away seaweed. But while the wind died away, the current stayed strong, and sometimes the only answer was to put down the anchor to stop the boat drifting backwards. A frustrating moment for all the teams.
we got overtaken by a duck.
Ahead lay the Malacca Straits, where the exclusion zones kept the boats out of one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world. However, outside the lanes, the challenges were many and varied. Curious boats, dodging the endless fishing boats and their nets, and clearing debris from the rudders and keel kept the sailors working throughout the night. Sharing such a small stretch of water with some of the biggest ships on the sea, everyone was relieved to reach the open space of the South China Sea. While the course tried its best to split the fleet, the racing stayed close. 4 of the teams remained within sight of each other almost to the finish. But Dongfeng Race Team, having took the lead early on, convincingly held it for the next 5,000 miles. Their win being the biggest margin in this edition so far. And it was made all the more special as they celebrated their home victory with supporters and family and everyone who'd come to cheer them in.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the winners of League 3 in the Volvo Ocean Race, Dongfeng Race Team!
Dancing Dragons led the team's parade in front of the all-women crew of Team SEA, winners of the Abu Dhabi Import, looking to continue their strong performance. The local crowds welcomed the teams from Spain, America, Abu Dhabi and the Netherlands, but it was the home team that raised a special cheer as the crew of Dongfeng were led to their boat. A final wave and the boats left the dock for the Team Vestas Wind Import Race, where light winds are forecast. Today's racing, not just a chance to score points on the inshore series, but also an opportunity to take a test run around the bay in readiness for tomorrow's departure. Well, let's have a look at the inshore series scoreboard. Abu Dhabi lead the import scoreboard, having finished on the podium in every import race. Bauerbeking and Team Brunel are in second place, with Team SEA in third, but behind them the scores are still close. The young Americans, Alvi Medica, leads the podium chasers, having claimed a first in the Alicante import back in October. With 6 more inshore races to go, there's plenty of chances for a lead change. Our commentary team on the water is led by Knut Frostat, Volvo Ocean Race CEO. Knut, how does it look on the water?
Well, now it looks fantastic. We started with a pretty light morning and we were all a bit skeptical. Is this really going to fill in? But I just got the latest news from Bill O'Hara, our race director, that he has more than 12 knots on the boat now, and it's picking up. It's looking stronger and stronger. We see small white caps coming. So I think we will have an exciting race with 3 full laps and a very exciting downwind starts. That's what we have seen in the past. That's when you get the tightest start with the most interesting first leg. And next to me here I have one of the 2 only Chinese sailors in the world who has won a leg in the Volvo Ocean Race. Kit, you are one of the top sailors on Dongfeng Race Team, and you have sailed a lot here in the Bay of Sanya. What do you think about today? Do you think we're going to have a strong breeze? Do you think the wind is going to stay like this the whole day?
I think the breeze will stay like this or pick up a little bit more, and I'm sure our team will do quite well because last year we do a lot of training here and exactly the same conditions. So I have a lot of confidence for my team. We'll have a good result today.
And you are in one of the teams that are rotating quite a few sailors. I mean, now you and Black are off the boat for this import race and the next leg. And on the boat you have Horace coming back and Wolf is coming back. And how does that work for you to step on and off the boat? Does it work well for the team?
Yeah, it's really well for us because it's good to have some day off and keep really fresh. When you jump on the boat and you're tired, it's not really work for like 20 days offshore. So it's really good for us. We learning a lot and have a good time. So I'm really look forward if I could sail another leg as well.
Yeah. Well, time will tell. Yeah. And also with me today in the Team Vestas Win import race in Sanya, I have Team Vestas Win skipper. And this must be the first time, Nico, Chris Nicholson, that a race team becomes an import race sponsor.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite surreal seeing our name on the marks here for the Team Vestas Win import race. But, you know, it's a good way of us still letting everyone know we're still in the race. It's, but yeah, it's very, very different for us.
Well, it's great for us that both we have a Team Vestas win as the import race sponsor and also having the skipper here. But one thing that we should talk about behind us, that's happening behind us, and that is the pre-start maneuvers. I mean, we are now less than 5 minutes from the start. What is the big important decisions to make in a downwind start? I mean, what is key for you? What's going through your head as a skipper?
You know, quite often on a downwind start, you want to be protected by the rules. So for us, normally we'd always try and get a starboard tack approach, as long as that's the side we want to go to. But you see, there's a lot of different styles here. You know, I think like Abu Dhabi, I normally see them approach late on a downwind start. It's kind of like, you know, their motto as such. But you see here now, guys are starting to hoist at A3, so you've got to be careful of that, not to hoist it too early and have it unfurl. The dagger board set up, you know, they actually don't look like they're working too hard at the moment, but I can guarantee you the grinders and most of the crew are probably redlining already.
And obviously the big thing is to have maximum speed and the best angle, wind angle, when you start building speed. And if you, what we saw in Cape Town when we had a downwind start was that very quickly that room you had worked on to have for acceleration can be stolen by someone else. And what goes through your mind tactically to protect that space?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a lot of it's like, you know, we kind of call it a bit more freestyle, where the guys actually have to make decisions late in the piece because things change so rapidly on a downwind start. It's a lot more dynamic for the teams.
So less computers and less numbers and more just get gut feeling.
Yeah, like the time on distant, the computers can't give it to us because we're doing different angles and different approaches. So it's not like an upwind start, it's like a lot more gut feel from the guys.
Exactly. Well, behind us we are starting to watch the start happening. And what do you see from now when we are about 2.5-3 minutes left to the start?
Well, you see Don Feng's the only one with a J2, the smaller jib up than the other teams. So they're obviously thinking the breeze will probably pick up a little bit more. But also, like, it's, you know, okay, who's going to tack first to start the starboard tack approach back and when it forces the boat? So do you want to lead early or do you want to lead late into the starting area?
Exactly. It's interesting to see. It's only 3 boats that have the A3s up, and it's very, very short time and little time left to the start line. I mean, that is leaving it late. Why would you leave it late?
Well, just to stop it unfurling. You can see Alvi Medica there. Like, to me, that doesn't look like a really good furl, and they are running a risk already now. Abu Dhabi's got a great furl, and so is Mapfrey. So I don't see those at a risk. But you've got to be careful. Like, these sails can come unfurled, and then that's your start over. And in this tide of racing, that's also your race over.
Well, thank you, Nicky. Over to you guys in studio, Neil.
Well, thanks very much, Knut. There you can see it in the middle of the screen, the image at the moment. That's the race course. The breeze is up, the breeze is blowing. It's pretty good. But of course, Richard, we are worried about these shifty conditions.
Oh, it's still going to be very shifty from our position sitting up here. I can see the darker patches on the water shifting left and right. As you look at the graphic on the screen there, it's bending. It's going to be super exciting out there.
Well, there you can see on the virtual eye, that is where the start line is relative to the city of Sanya. From there, it's going to be a downwind start. They're going to sail down towards, there's the start line in the middle. There's a perfect shot. The white line denoting where the start line is. The white buoy at the bottom of your screen, that's the pin end, and the committee boat is the white catamaran at the top. And we are under 30 seconds to go. Key things to watch out for here is how these teams approach this downwind start. Slightly unconventional. 15 seconds to go. They're going to enter from the right-hand side of your screen, exit out the left. Under 10 seconds to go now for the Team Vestas Wind import race in Sanya. Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing and Team SCA very close to the line. Dongfeng Brunel and Alvi Medica all charging in. Downwind sails already out. Sam Davies, solo round the world sailor, getting a good start at the committee boat end. The rest of the fleet very much bunched together.
Yeah, she's in the weather position there at the moment, and they're all on starboard tack, which is the interesting thing here. So as the breeze builds and they accelerate, oh, here comes Macfrey, very late.
Very late. They obviously just got that timing slightly wrong. As we've said, there are patches in this breeze, and you know, you're sailing through a little light patch, and that can blow your timing out. They're going to have to sail through the line from the wrong side of the course, clear the line, and then bear away to join the race. Now, of course, they're starting with a disadvantage, but with all these shifts, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for them to get back into it. Now you can see Xabi Fernandez turning that boat down, trying to chase the leaders. Out in front, Alvi Medica, the left-hand side of your screen, a small gain over Sam Davies with Team SCA.
There is a little bit of gain there, and as we see, as you get over to the right-hand side of the racetrack, the breeze is going to get a little bit lighter, you know, so as you go further towards the left-hand side of your screen, there's going to be less wind.
Now we can see Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing. They've got their downwind A3 sail up. That's the large sail going off the bowsprit. The crew's now taking down their starting sails. Down goes the J1. That's a lot of sail to pull in. I mean, these bowmen here having to work really hard to control that sail. If it slips into the water and starts dragging, I mean, it could damage the sail, but it'll certainly slow you down.
Oh, you got a couple of best there. Justin Slattery's probably one of the best Irish bowmen in the world. We call him the Fiery Irishman. I've sailed thousands of miles with him. One of the best, undoubtedly, and fierce competitor. Interesting what's going on out here. Big split now. Abu Dhabi moving out to the left-hand side of the racetrack. You've got the other boats going out to the right. This will be telling. Good pressure on Abu Dhabi at the moment. Looks like they've really got the bow down and going for it.
Well, now as we follow Alvi Medica and Mafre down to the right-hand side, you were saying before about this difference in breeze that we have. What do you think Ian Walker's seen on the left-hand side of the course as we look downwind?
It's all about pressure. He sees wind speed. He can smell it. And when you look down here, the water's a little bit darker. Means there's more pressure on the surface. Definitely rider out on the light as you see Sam and SCA sort of lifting up out there at the moment. So there'll be a bit of work to come out of that corner. But Brunel, Abu Dhabi looking very strong.
Well, let's go to Canute and our on-the-water commentary team to get a bit of an inside eye on the pressure.
Yeah, we are just with Abu Dhabi, just to leeward of Abu Dhabi, and I tell you, they have a fantastic gust here. I think they were forced to drive a bit, so there was not the perfect angle to go out, and it looks like they're crossing far behind Brunel. But there is pressure on this side, but it's very, very patchy. What do you take from this, Nico?
Oh, you know, Alvi Medica just had the perfect time and distance there to the start. But, you know, these guys now are already looking at the bottom mark, and then the navigators will be calling the time they've got on each jibe here, and then you'd be getting harassed by the bow team about probably cutting it too fine because they need to get the jibs hoisted and get set. So every team would be looking to have at least a minute and a half on the same jibe coming into the bottom of the mark, and that's what they're setting up for now.
We got some great breeze on the course earlier. We were nervous that maybe the start would be delayed. Bill O'Hara, the race officer, a little bit nervous this morning, but in fact the breeze has filled in. It's going to provide a great day of racing.
Oh, I think the term we're using here is champagne yachting. It's just absolutely perfect out there. Lots of nice pressure.
Alvi Medica in the lead of the bunch, but there's a big split in this fleet that you can see on the virtual eye. There's the two marks on the left-hand side of your screen. That's the first gate that they've got to go through. You can see the hills behind on that shot. That's what's splitting the breeze left and right, and that's why you're getting these large patches, these big shifts rolling down. Here's the course that they're racing on today. The start line in the middle of your picture, then they go down to that downwind gate. They can go around either mark before coming back up to the starting area. Again, a gate at the top, back down to the bottom, racing back up to the top. Each leg, hopefully they're trying to work out the gusts and the shifts, trying to get into the best position. 3 laps in total before a final smash to the finish, and we'll have our winner.
Oh, it's something happens in this course race. There's 8 guys doing this. The crew numbers, to do this sort of thing in the America's Cup, in the old days we'd have 18 crew members. So these crews, these sailors are just working, sweating. Quite often when you're operating in the middle of the boat, you've got no idea where you are on the racetrack. You're just thinking about what's going to happen next. You know, what halyard's going to come out, how are we going to go around this next mark, daggerboard up, daggerboard down. It's just on. So what we're seeing going on out here is absolutely awesome.
Well, it's very interesting because this is some of the biggest split that we've seen in the fleet for this entire edition of the Volvo Ocean Race. I'm wondering, Canute, who do you think is going to lead at the bottom mark?
Well, on our side it looks like Alvi Medica has a strong position, but looking up the race course up towards the upwind mark again, we see this wind is very, very patchy. If you drive at the wrong time, if you drive a little too late, right now both Mapfre and Brunel is in a fantastic patch of good breeze, and Alvi Medica is driving just to leeward in front of them, so they're driving tactically at the right place. But what do you think, Nico? Do you think they will have the pressure, or do you think they're going to sail out of it?
I think in general they've had the pressure down this side. We see SCA kind of got parked up a little on the light air on that side, and now Abu Dhabi's gone over there. So if you're going to look at it, and you'd be monitoring Abu Dhabi, if they lose distance there, you'd be very, very cautious of that side of
And something happened to Dongfeng Race Team. Dongfeng Race Team just lost the sheet on the Jennaker. That was a big loss to Dongfeng Race Team. At least 3 boat lengths.
Yeah, it looks like
We're just getting the images now in the middle of your screen. There you can see Dongfeng Race Team, Charles Quadrelia, the skipper. They've got that spinnaker now in under control, but Richard, you know, you let the power go for 1 second, the boat slows down.
Oh, very expensive jibe, that one for them. You know, that was getting close to a slam dunk. They really wanted to be over top and a little advanced on Brunel there, so that they give them their bad air and then they can lead them into the mark. It's you know, that was a real shame for them there, but they'll be tied.
Yeah, these boats, of course, they sail very fast. I mean, we've seen, you know, 24, 25 knots out of them, but they are 12 tons of boat, so you can stop dead. Now, there we can see Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing skipper Ian Walker just jibing his boat from the right-hand side, the top of your picture, but it's Alvi Medica, the young American team. They're already putting up their head sail, getting ready to drop the A3. They're quite confident they're going to round this mark in first place.
Yeah, it looks like they're on the they're going to be on the lay line in, and they're getting all set. So a nice clean rounding here, and get that A3 tucked away nice and tight, and get her on the wind.
So Charlie Enright, the 30-year-old skipper of Alvi Medica, making the best decision on this leg so far, but a couple of 100 meters to go before the mark. Still a chance for some other teams to catch up. There we can see Alvi Medica on the virtual eye leading the boats into the left-hand mark as you look at it. Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing are coming in with a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting here because these boats are coming in on starboard. They're the right-of-way boats, so it's a pretty clean setup for Alfie coming in there. Looks like they might have overlaid a little bit, so they're going to be a bit slow coming in, but as you can see, you've got Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing coming in from the right-hand side of your screen. They're going to be clear ahead there.
First downwind mark at the Team Vestas Wind import race here in Sanya, and it's a slim lead to Alvi Medica.
It is indeed. It looks like a pretty clean takeaway of the A3 there, so they'll be wanting to get that on the deck and tide it away, get the dagger boards down, and get her all up, nice upwind trim, get it going as quick as you can.
They don't look like a boat that's under too much pressure, do they? They've done that nice. They've got their timing perfect. The dagger board goes down. That's going to stop the boat from sliding sideways when they use the keel. They've got the A3. It's furled. It's down on the deck. The bowman just keeping it tidy and out of the way. That's a very smooth, tidy mark rounding.
That's very tidy there, and that's going to mean you're going to be able to extend your lead here. Look at Brunel. They're coming in very slow, and then you've got 3 other boats coming in behind them, so they're going to stretch their lead here a little bit as these boats tangle with one another, trying to find a nice lane to exit the mark with.
Bauerbecking and Team Brunel exit the mark, having not done a perfect rounding. But it's Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing, the first boat to split at the bottom marks. They're going to go round the right-hand mark as we look at them now. They're going to go upwind on the other side.
Exactly, and they're looking for that pressure that they got that initial jump in. So they come around that mark looking for a clear air and a nice lane to come up the right-hand side of the racetrack.
Well, there we can see Justin Slattery and the bow team on the front of Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing, balancing their way, getting the A3 down. But now, as we can see, Team SCA coming in with some great breeze down to the bottom. Mafre still with their A3 up, sailing past the marks. A problem on Mafre.
No, that's not. That's all about timing there. So they'll be struggling to get that one tucked away. And here we go with Dafong Race Team. They're coming out. They're going out the right-hand side as well. So. Looks like we're still looking at a bit of a split here. It'll be interesting to see how this pans out. I'd put my money on Abu Dhabi at the moment.
So Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing, Dongfeng Race Team all heading out to the right-hand side. Mafre did a fantastic job to get themselves back into the pack from that start, but unfortunately there you can see the problem that they're having.
Yeah. Their
head sail, as it went up, if you don't control it on the sheets, even though there's not a lot of wind in it, it can twist.
Yeah, it can twist, and the big danger there is that you break battens, and well, the yachtsman term for that is we call it a bonner.
And they've gone way past the gate. Obviously, if you have a problem at the windward mark, at least you can still turn onto the downwind leg, but a problem at the leeward mark, that really costs you.
Oh, and you're moving so fast, so the distances open up very, very quickly, and of course, as you come on the wind, you're going half the boat speed, so it takes a long time to make that back up.
Yeah, that's a very difficult start for these guys. A poor start, a great effort on the leg to get themselves back into it, but all they've got to do is just pick out a couple of good shifts, and they're back in the game.
Well, absolutely. You see Team SCA, they both came in the mark at the same time, and you can see the difference there between a nice tardy mark rounding. Sam and the girls managed to really get that all tucked away. They did a great job there, so they picked up some nice gains there.
Well, there you can see on the virtual eye the thin lead of Alvi Medica at the top of the picture. Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing, they're going out completely the other side. Two teams very much committed to two very different tactics. I mean, what's your guess on this one, Richard? Who's got it right?
Oh, hard to say at the moment, actually, because there is a little bit more pressure on the left-hand side of the racetrack than we've had.
We're just wondering, maybe Canute, when you're out in the water, what's the pressure like? Because we're seeing some differences in the strategy here.
From our place, I can tell you it's the breeze is building. There's more wind now than it was at the start. We were just discussing with Chris Nicholson here, and we kind of think the middle of the race course maybe slightly to the left, slightly to the right. Sorry, it feels very dangerous to get too close to the land.
Okay, well, there we can see Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing in the middle of your picture. They look like they've got some fantastic breeze. Daggerboard all the way down. The keel's going to be canted right over, and there we can see the lead change. The meters start ticking up in favour of Ian Walker's team. Alvi Medica maybe just sailing into a bit of a hole in the breeze.
Yeah, and you look at the angles that they're coming out of that side of the racetrack onto. I mean, they are building speed coming out of the tack there. But for a while they're a little bow down. Now they've come up looking a little more even. Be interesting to see as Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing come out. As their bow goes down, that means they're being headed. When they tack over, that turns into a lift, so that's a big gain.
But of course, there's a big separation between the boats. In the middle of your picture now, you can see Alvi Medica, the young American team. This is a team that won the first import race all the way back in October, back in Alicante, Spain. A great way to start it off. They've never quite been able to match it, and I'm sure they're getting excited about the prospect of another podium finish in an import.
Absolutely, they're looking very tidy there, nicely tucked away. The boat looks very well set up for these conditions, so there's some nice yachting going on out there.
But there's no mistake as to who's got the lead at the moment at the Team Vestas Wind Import Race Sanya. Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing, double Olympic medalist Ian Walker leading the team from the United Arab Emirates. That boat looks like it's flying.
Oh, it is, and right now he'll be working very hard with Tooney, who's trimming the mainsail there. There'll be a lot of communication going in there. As you look at this shot on your screen right now, they'll be trying to work up to the Dafong team so they fall down on their line, and then they can actually extend their lead and spit them out a little bit. So it's a pretty crucial time for Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing at the moment.
And we saw some big decisions being made on that downwind leg, some very patchy breeze, difficult to work out what was happening. But Ian Walker and his team, there was no pause in their movement from that leeward mark. They wanted this side of the course. They went fully over to this side of the course, very committed.
Absolutely, and today's a difficult strategy day. You know, you have to come up with your plan, and you really have to stick to it, because there will be times when the other side of the racetrack just looks fantastic, but you can't physically get there. You can't be in two places at once. So you really just got to stick to your game plan. Don't deviate from it. You've got to invest.
Well, Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing on the bottom of your picture, now on the right-hand side of your picture, still leading, but you can see how the wind has shifted on the trails of those boats. Alvi Medica, the boat number 3 on your screen, their track has gently ticked up to the left. And you can see the difference between the tracks with Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing and Dongfeng Race Team on the right-hand side. So you're only a few hundred meters apart, very different breeze.
Absolutely, and it'll become even more interesting as the boats come in towards one another, coming into the top mark there. What they're getting now on the left, Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing are hoping to get once they tack over on the right. That's the effect of the wind bending around the island behind us here.
Well, it's interesting, Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing, their track has now been lifted up as they go, but they're coming very close to the point where they're going to have to put a tack in. So they might have to tack over onto actually an unfavoured angle.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll be hanging on to this for as long as they can until they're looking for a header. They're looking for the bow to come down so they can tack onto a little lift there. They're within moments of tacking here, I think.
Actually, this might favour Alvi Medica here if they can hold on to this lift. Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing, you can see they've had to sail beyond where the ley line was, but of course the breeze has now shifted, and they're trying to hang on to it so far. They're almost sailing into the spectator fleet.
Yeah, I can see a few of the spectator boats going into reverse there, and they're getting right in there. They're really just hanging out there, hoping that this shift is coming. Sci-Fi he'll be looking at his numbers, going, come on, give us a chance here. He'll be talking to the wind gods. Come on, Huey, give us a hand.
I mean, we've been talking about Ian Walker and his team committed to this side of the course, but they really are punching it about as far as they can. They're tacking now, almost in the middle of the spectator fleet. The boat's just going into reverse, trying to give him a little bit more room, but Ian Walker just hoping this last shift goes his way.
Yeah, he's certainly investing in his plan, that's for sure.
So the big question will be Alvi Medica coming in from the left-hand side of the course as we look upwind. are they going to get the best of the last shift? There you can see the young American team, Charlie Enright, the skipper. They're coming in from the bottom of your picture, and at the moment, I've got to say, it looks quite good for them.
Oh, it certainly does, but one thing that they've got to do, they still have to tack and build speed. Ian's going to be coming, he's on ley line, he's probably a little above it, which means he can put the bow down and go just that little bit faster, you know, so he'll be looking for 3/4 of a knot to a knot faster right now, and try and put the pressure on the Alpha Medica guys as they come into the top mark.
Well, the gain line on the virtual eye is still just in Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing's favour. However, Alvi Medica on a very nice angle up to the top. We could see another lead change before we get to the top. Canute, you're down on the water. How does it look for this chase for the lead?
Well, I'll tell you, we are just discussing it, me and Chris Nicholson here, and we kind of think this is a geographic shift, you know, like it's a fan of the wind that's coming out of the bay, so you have to sail into the shift. It just looks like they are laying that Abu Dhabi is laying the ley line. Do you think they're going to lay, Chris?
Yeah, well, certainly when they tack, though, they look like about 10-15 degrees below the lay. But you can see as time goes on, they're getting closer and closer. I think they will lay, and they'll be right on, you know, possibly in front of Brunel and be right on the hammer of the guys. And the thing is, they've got a nice approach. Like the crew can see what's coming up. They don't have to tack. They don't have any last-minute manoeuvres. No. So they'll be well set up for the downwind leg.
Canute, I'm just going to have to take it back there because we have had a lead change, and not even that, but Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing, they were first, and now Team Brunel, Bauer Becking, going over the top of them potentially.
Oh, they'll be forced to tack here, and here this will be really interesting. So Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing will come down, they'll point at them, they'll tack over, and then they'll go into a higher mode, and what Bauer will try and do is hold them up. You could see some luffing going on here.
Well, there goes Bauer Becking's boat, Team Brunel, tacking right in front of Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing. They had to do that tack to keep clear. Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing now being forced to choose the leftover air coming off Team Brunel's sail. Alvi Medica played that last shift perfectly, and now they're leading into the windward mark.
It looks very tidy, so it's all going to be about getting the A3 up nice and clean, getting it deployed, and having it just not panicking, just picking your shifts and staying in phase as you go downwind here.
In the middle of the screen, you can see Alvi Medica. They're leading this incredibly intriguing tactical race. There's so many shifts, so many movements up and down the board. They're going to get that A3 hoisted, then it comes unfurled. A really fantastic performance from Alvi Medica to take the lead from this first lap here in Sanya.
No, absolutely. The young guns are doing a great job out there, and it's nothing like a bit of young muscle to pull those sails off the deck. You know, they'll be pumped out there at the moment, and they're stepping through their paces nicely. It looks the crew work looks very tidy. They get that J1 on the deck, get that A3 unfurled, and get motoring. Here we go. Here comes Brunel.
Second place at the Team Vestas Wind Import Race Sanya. Team Brunel, Bauer Becking, his 7th Volvo Ocean race at the moment. Takes his team round the top. He has taken second place over the top of Ian Walker and Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing.
Very nice deployment by Brunel. Jens Dolmer in the pit there. He's done a fantastic job coordinating his guys and getting that shootout, so they're underway.
There's almost too much to talk about here as Dongfeng Race Team comes into the top and elects to go round the other mark. That's a manoeuvre that costs you a lot of speed. You only make a manoeuvre like that if you're confident with your tactics.
Absolutely. Again, you know, looking for that pressure down the left-hand side of the racetrack, looking downwind.
So there you can see the bowman wrestling with that A3, but just going out of your picture, it looked to me like Alvi Medica had a small problem with their A3. They were late to unfurl it. Team SCA now in the middle of your screen, coming up to the top. You can see the Cuban fibre of the A3 downwind sail. That's getting hoisted. They look like they're on a good ley line to get round the mark.
Yeah, lovely ley line there. Nice timing. You know, it's, of course, the team have a few extra sets of hands, but these girls are amazing. They're so committed. They, as we saw in Abu Dhabi, you know, they really showed it to the boys. So doing a great job out there.
Team SCA and Sam Davis bringing that boat round the windward mark. Now you can see the A3 unfurl.
Yeah, deploying away there. So you can see that right about now you want to be cutting the J1 sheet, and then your A3 pops, you'll come up, you'll load it up, and you're off. You know, all of a sudden your boat speed will jump up 3-4 knots straight away. So here they go. There
Now,
it sets and they're off.
For those of you that may be a little bit new to the Volvo Ocean 65, you know, this downwind A3, that gives you around 100 square meters more than trying to sail downwind with just the J1. And on top of that, it's also designed to be sailed at that angle. So every time the angle changes, every single time a leg changes, you're trying to select the best sail. Let's get a little wind update for Canute. How does it look on the course?
Well, we're just with Brunel here, and I tell you, the biggest thing we saw here now was obviously Alvimedica's big struggle to unfurl their A3. They couldn't get it on the lock they have in the top of the mast, and they couldn't get tension on it, so they lost half the distance at least to Brunel. So it's going to be interesting to see how much Brunel can catch up there, because that was tough for them. It's really tough to be in the front when you have both soaking to leeward of your line and could block you. But now the other guys have jived away. It's still good pressure, but it looks risky on the side where Alvimedica is. This is where the team SCA, what do you think, got stuck on the first leg. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, well, it was surprising to see Brunel jibe out, and obviously they thought they were going into less pressure, but I think what we see here is the split that Don Fong done at the top mark, and I think they're coming back quite strong from that left-hand side.
Well, we can see in the middle of our picture there the virtual eye graphic showing us just how far Alvimedica are committed to that right-hand side. Charles Caudrelia, the 40-year-old Frenchman, skipper of Dongfeng race team, at the bottom of your screen. He's looking quite strong on this side, isn't he? He did that handbrake maneuver at the top, but he might be able to roll over Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing and Team Brunel, who are locked into a little personal battle.
Yeah, absolutely, and here's a right-of-way boat here, so the starboard boat has the right-of-way. So if they're close, Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing and Brunel are committed to jibe out of his way.
Well, here comes the crunch moment. Dongfeng race team coming in from the bottom of your screen on starboard. Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing puts the bow up to go round behind them, forced to do it. Team Brunel might just be able to sail clear, but that's another major change. Let's see if Canute, what do you think about that? What does Kit think about that?
Well, I think I'll ask what Kit thinks about it. Kit is standing next to me. Kit, your team just made a massive breakthrough. What do you think happened?
I think we do a pretty good maneuver on the top mark. We take straight away, and then we take on the left-hand side. When you look on the downwind side, it's look a lot more pressure on the left. So we gain a lot, and now we are leading in front of the Abu Dhabi and Brunel. So it's a pretty good maneuver at the top.
Yeah, maneuvers matters a lot in this win.
Yeah, this wind on the left we have more pressure, so we probably will stay on this side, and then it looks really good. But looks Alvimedica is also now it's very good on this side as well. So it's difficult to tell at the moment, but will be good.
Certainly a good gain for your teammates. That's no doubt.
Yeah, so good.
Well, in the middle of your picture, you can just see Ian Walker, the British double Olympic medalist. Now, he has come into this Volvo Ocean race firmly fixed on winning the overall, and he's had some big contenders. And right now, Alvimedica are out in the lead. Ian Walker there, you can see him just looking over his shoulder. He's trying to work out what the pattern is. There you can see skipper Charlie Enright on the helm of Alvimedica, this young team trying to prove that young sailors coming into the Volvo Ocean race can win on passion. You don't necessarily need years of experience. Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing now jibing over, Brunel jibing as well, but at the top of your screen, Alvimedica and Dongfeng race team first and second at the moment, and they look like they're in good pressure.
Yeah, I mean, what are we talking about there? A couple of boat lengths separating them, reasonably good pressure coming down on, but I think you'll see Dongfeng race team jibing pretty soon, because you won't want to go too much further that way.
We've seen a lot of this as they come downwind and upwind. We've seen a lot of teams really hedging their bets and sending themselves right out to the corners of the course, and that takes a lot of guts. You've got to be very confident about your decisions to do that.
Well, certainly, and just as I said, you don't want to go too far that way. They picked up a fantastic gust there, so I should keep my trap shut. They're actually looks like they're really pushing it out there and making a nice little gain there at the moment.
And as we follow Alvimedica here and the skipper Charlie Enright, I mean, what would you be trying to do when you're in the lead here?
Well, it's all about just keeping yourself between yourself, the opposition, and the next mark. don't put yourself under too much pressure. You want to set yourself up nicely on the ley line so that when you come in there, you've got plenty of time to do a tidy manoeuvre. Like Knut says, manoeuvres are everything out here.
Well, there's some good boat speeds that we can see on the virtual eye. Dongfeng at the top of your picture, they've got some good speeds. We can see it almost hitting 14, 15 knots. Now we're with Alvi Medica as they go for the jibe. Still in the lead of this race at the moment, hoping that nothing flusters these guys as they sail themselves down to the bottom of the course to round yet again in first place.
Absolutely, and they've done a nice job of hitting the ley line there. It's all about sort of carrying a nice hot angle into the bottom mark, giving yourself enough time to sail a little bit lower and do a tidy manoeuvre.
Now, do we think that there might be a little bit of an overtake here? There's the big split. Dongfeng race team out on the left-hand side, every other boat out on the right-hand side of your picture. There you can see the two boats starting to converge together. Alvi Medica, you've got to be feeling nervous at this point.
Oh, absolutely. But interesting to see what Alpha Medica choose to do here, whether they go around the right-hand mark or the left-hand mark. They could take their starboard advantage and try and push our Dafeng race team to go around behind them. This is going to be an exciting bottom mark here.
What? Dongfeng race team already with their head sail on the way up. Alvi Medica follow suit, so both boats getting ready for that leeward mark rounding. It's a leeward gate, so they sail between the buoys and then they can select one to go round before heading back upwind.
Absolutely. It'd be interesting to see what Charlie chooses here. He's a pretty cunning tactician, so the pressure's on here. There'll be a lot of talk in the back of the boats as they come into this rounding.
Dongfeng race team, Alvi Medica, neck and neck as they approach the downwind mark for the second time.
Here we go, starboard advantage to Alpha Medica. So Dafeng race team, they have to go round behind them. Be interesting to see what they do here.
Doesn't look like a fantastic furl with Alvi Medica. The question is really who wants to go from one side of the course to the other. What you do at these marks really makes a difference. Dongfeng race team slipping inside Alvi Medica, calling room at the mark. Alvi Medica have to give it to them. They've already got their downwind sail under control at least. Dongfeng race team is slightly late, but actually as the camera angle changes, I do think that the furl on board Alvi Medica, it wasn't perfect. And as the camera pans round, I wonder whether we're going to see a slightly bad furl on that boat and that could slow them down.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And they've got to get these sails. Right now, being on the wind like that is super crucial. Alpha Medica, they want to inch their way forward and up to weather them. You can see the A3 flapping there. They've got to get that down on the deck, and that's not just going to cause them trouble now. That's going to cause trouble at the top as well.
So another lead change in this race. Dongfeng race team take the lead. Alvi Medica had a slight slip up at the leeward mark and let them in. Knut, that was some pretty exciting action.
It was amazing, and me and Chris and the kid here, we were discussing it, and what you see is that if you take the risk on leaving things late, you risk absolutely everything. And we were a bit sort of panicking because Dongfeng couldn't get their Jennaker in. But then what they were doing, they were actually getting their jib up and they were getting ready for a pretty conservative maneuver, and they kept the lead.
Yeah, but we thought they were actually going to lead by a little more, but you just saw then it was so close, and Alvi Medica pushed in hard, and their A3, it hasn't furled properly, so they'd be really concerned going up this next speed that when they go to deploy their A3, they may have a lot of difficulty, and if that's the case, then they got some issues.
So taking a loss early can be good for saving something later, So, but very, very exciting, and definitely this import race, Team Vestas win import race, is certainly not over.
No, absolutely. There's still a lot of shifts out here, but I think what we're seeing here, it's all the mechanics. Each boat has one issue here and there, but it's going to come down to who can do it the cleanest.
Well, this is champagne sailing conditions that we've got today. This is some of the most exciting racing that we've seen here for the Team Vestas Win import race Sanya. There you can see it in the middle of your screen. Team SEA safely round the bottom, still just clawing their way back from last place. Mafre, it's Andre Fonseca on the helm today, the 38-year-old. He's already done 2 Volvo Ocean Races campaigns, and he's helming today while Shabby, the temporary skipper, takes control of the middle of the boat. Now you can see the bow coming around that bottom mark. Again, not a perfect furl of those A3s. We've spoken about it before. For this inshore racing, you haven't actually got very many people on the boat, and mistakes can happen.
No, and it's a double-edged sword, because a bad furl can cause you a bad deploy at the top, so you got to get it down so you don't get yourself in enormous amounts of trouble, but there's no guarantees that you'll get it out at the top. This is definitely, look at this is amazing.
Well, I mean, there is the split that we are talking about. You rarely see a split this convincing as you go upwind. I mean, this is very close for first race. Alvi Medica, Dongfeng Race Team, Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing, Team Brunel, they are all neck and neck trying to gain those last few boat lengths to claim first place. They've split so far left and right of the course, all of them thinking, I'm going to be the one that nails the best shift. That's going to be a hard thing to get.
Oh, this is absolutely fantastic. I mean, if anything today, we would have expected to see some quite big splits, but I think you'd be pretty safe to say that the One Design concept is working out there on the water today. It doesn't get any more exciting than this.
Now here we have a very important cross. We've got Dongfeng Race Team on the left-hand side of the screen, just rolling over the top of Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing. That was pretty close.
That was pretty close. You see Justin up on the bow up there. He would have been giving Ian a few waves of, yep, you can get through, keep going, keep going. It comes down to millimetres. It's good to have your trust in your bowman. I tell you, it can make you look good or very bad.
It's very difficult for a skipper to judge those last few metres when you're all the way at the back of the boat. And of course, you've got this long bowsprit poking out. You know, it's almost 2 metres long, that bowsprit. It can certainly get in the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice shot of Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing there, showing you they're beautifully tucked up on the wind there. Nice and close sheeted it on the head, so it's a well set up boat. They look fast. It looks nice.
And we've got breeze here at the moment, but we've also got flat water. Now that's quite a different style of trimming. And there you can see, just rolling behind Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing, Alvi Medica. They were leading this race, so it really is. The top four are absolutely jammed together. At the moment, Dongfeng Race Team narrowly in the lead, but Alvi Medica really working hard to get that lead back.
Oh, this is going to come down to crew work. I see a badly filled spinnaker on the bow of Alpha Medica, unfortunately, so I think that's going to bite them pretty soon when they come around the next top mark. So it comes down to being conservative, just making sure those manoeuvres are tight and tidy the whole time.
It's going to be very interesting to see what that team can do at the top of the course. There with the virtual eye, Dongfeng Race Team leading, but leading narrowly. At the top of your picture, Bauer Becking, 7 times at the Volvo Ocean Race, a real veteran. He's punching out hard on the right-hand side as we go upwind, trying to find that last good shift. It is very, very difficult to tell from here which side's paying. Knut, you're on the water. I wonder what side looks best.
Well, when we are sitting just in front of Dongfeng Race Team, and I tell you, for Abu Dhabi, and they had a very good first part of that beat. Obviously, as me and Chris just discussed here, Alvi Medica is now having a very tough future because Charlie Enright, I mean, he cannot hoist the Jenneker with his team before the mark because it is partly unfurled already. So he's going to have to wait, and that's painful, Chris.
Yeah, like if you're on Charlie's boat, you'd just be trying now to keep it all under control. Like you can kind of see it all starting to unwind for them. They may not be able to hoist the A3 before the mark, so then they're going to lose boat lengths there. And then I've got some real concerns if it will actually unfurl at all. They may even consider putting on the masthead 0 instead of the A3. But I've seen a guy on a bow most of the way up here, so they're obviously aware of the situation. But interesting to see Ian walk. He's been quite aggressive up this beat, more tacks than anyone else, and putting his crew under pressure. But boy, they're going well.
But it still looks like more pressure in the middle on our side. I think middle and to the right still looks very solid, and it's interesting to see now Abu Dhabi going all the way to the left going upwind. This is a place where we had a few boats parking up and losing big distance before, so it feels risky.
Yeah, it does, but I'm also looking at Brunel down on the right-hand side, and they haven't been an issue to any of these other boats, so they haven't carried a lot of breeze over there, and I think Ian Walker up the middle, which we haven't seen before here in Sanya. People have always been hitting sides, but I think out of this middle to the left-hand side, he's going to be looking good.
Well, there you can see on the virtual eye just how large that split has become. Team Brunel out on the right, Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing this time on the left-hand side of the upwind course. They've changed their tactics from the last leg, and it's going to be so difficult for these teams to try and work out what's the perfect way upwind. If you're new to sailboat racing, if you're trying to work out why on earth these boats are going in such different angles, they're all looking for that one perfect bend of the breeze that's going to take them into the best course for the upwind mark. Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing thinks it's going to be on one side of the course. Team Brunel think it's going to be on the other side of the course. Alvi Medica trying to play it a little bit safer, going up the middle.
Yeah, it looks like the guys coming up in the middle here, Dongfeng Race Team, looking pretty nice and tidy. Good pressure too. They're sitting in nice pressure, not far before they're going to come up on their lay lines. Probably a minute and a half to go here.
Well, we can see the crew on board Alvi Medica trying to find that perfect position for the sails, trying to make those last-minute adjustments. It is flat water here, but the breeze is up and it's down. So sometimes you want the sails strapped in quite tight, holding onto the gusts. Other times you've got to let it breathe again.
Absolutely, it's all about those fine little adjustments. The traveller's going up and down the whole time. Nothing's in cleats out there. It's all moving. It's all dynamic. Everything is you're changing and working with the breeze all the time.
Well, at the moment, Dongfeng race team look like they are very nicely starting to work out a bit of a lead. It looks a little bit light, but they've just come out of attack at the moment, so I'm expecting that speed to build up. Keel's been canted over. You can see the guys on the pumps in the middle of the cockpit working the sails back in, getting the boat back up to full speed. And if they can hold this, if they've got good breeze, they could keep this first position into the top marks.
Yeah,
well, Canoe, we're just wondering, and just quickly before we get to this mark, how does it look now?
Well, it looks obviously very, very good breeze in the middle. Brunel went way too far on the right side, and that's where you get into the shadow of this mountain that is on the end of the peninsula, so that they took a big risk there. But what is interesting now is obviously that Dongfeng race team is setting up for a port rounding. It's very expensive for them to tack at the mark, and the big gain they made on the previous downwind was hiking out offshore. Chris, what do you think? I mean, do you think anyone is going to go for the tack, or are they all going to just go for the normal rounding?
I think Dongfeng will go for the normal rounding, but the interesting thing is here, if Ian Walker's on the lay to the right-hand mark, he'll get that advantage, and he'll set his sails on port jibe. So again, we may see another split at the top mark between the two top teams.
Exactly. So it might be that Ian Walker saw what Charles did with Dongfeng race team on the previous downwind, and he's going to try to get that right-hand shift they had going flying away from the mark, which they really made him a big gain in the previous downwind. But as it looks now, it's been a big setback. And Dongfeng race team is tacking around the mark, so they are going for exactly the same strategy, Kit, as they did in the previous downwind. Do you think they're doing the wrong thing, Kit?
Yeah, I think they're doing good because they can do the normal set, but now they do the tack set. It's take a really risky maneuver because you will slow down a lot, but I think they choose the right way.
You think it's more pressure out there?
Yeah, exactly. I think.
Well, we've got one more lap to go. We've already had two, and look how close this racing is at the top of the course. Dongfeng race team safely around in first, Alvi Medica now in second, and right behind them, Ian Walker, Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing in third.
Yeah, Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing looking to go out the same side as Dongfeng race team. Look at that set, beautiful. Bows on the mark, sails coming out. Justin Slattery, well done. And then we look out, the Alpha Medica starting to struggle with that spinnaker, as we spoke about. You know, that's going to be difficult for these guys to get unfurled. Going on the lock there, now they've got to get it out.
This is a key moment for Alvi Medica, of course. That bad furl on the sail, and you can see that A3. It's got twists in it. It's half furled up in places. It's fully furled up in other places. Very difficult to get that all the way out without snagging it and tearing it.
Yeah, and you see there they've got a bit of a twist in it, and quite often that can be a twist back. Very difficult.
What's
to get
the procedure to get that out?
Well, you have to actually furl it up and unfurl it a couple of times, and sometimes you actually have to drop it on the deck and untwist it by hand. As you can see, Bauman's out there. He's trying to play the furler. Looks like they might need a little bit more tension on the downhaul there to assist them in getting that out. They need to pull it in and out. That's a difficult thing.
Absolutely gut-wrenching for these guys. They were in first. They managed to hold on to second at the top of the mark, and now they're going to have to really wait to get that sail out. But it's looking quite good on that side. They look like they've got some good breeze down that side. We've got on the Virtual at the moment, Alvi Medica heading downwind with Team Brunel in fourth place, and then out on the bottom of your course, we've still got Dongfeng race team in the lead. Mafre, Andre Fonseca helming the boat, Xabi Fernandez skipper approaching the top of the course. Sadly for these guys, they haven't lost any more positions, haven't lost any more distance, but they really haven't quite made it up.
No, they're struggling to put all the pieces of the puzzle together at the moment. Nice to see Team SCA, tidy set there, starting to extend away.
Well, we're just wondering, Canoe, what do you think about the pressure on the course? We're starting to see some real differences. Well, we'll come back to Canute in just a moment. Mafre now round the top of the course. That A3, again, it wasn't a perfect furl at the bottom of the course. It looks a little bit bunched. The crew are going to have to all come together to try and get that sail out. There's the Virtualite. There is the lead for Dongfeng race team. Heading towards the middle of the course, and they're looking quite strong. Now, you don't want to be hard out on the left-hand side. You don't want to be hard out on the right-hand side if you're in the lead. You want to be a little bit conservative. Is that what Dongfeng's doing?
Absolutely, and if I just right now looking at the race course, looking downwind, I'd say the best pressure is probably in the middle. So they're the best of both worlds. Impossible to cover boats when you have them so spread out over the racetrack. So they've just got to play a nice little conservative game in the front there and keep yourself between your opposition and the next mark, and it's just all about managing the boat and the crew.
Well, we can see Charles Caudrelier, the skipper, the French skipper on board Dongfeng Race Team in the red jacket. He's taking the wheel now. I can see him looking over his shoulder. What is it that you're looking for on the water that's trying to give you the signals about the breeze?
Well, often you see a darker patch, you'll be looking for it, you'll be watching it for a while, and you can see if it's moving from your left-hand side to your right or your right to your left, and you can figure out how to use that. And I'm sure he's also trying to factor in the position of the other boats into that, and in his mind sort of pick up where his ley lines are. Nice lead there, really stretching it out. If they play a nice conservative game here, one very tidy mark rounding away from what would be a sensational result.
And you've got to remember all the way back at that first time at the top of the course when they did that tack set, it was a real handbrake manoeuvre, and we all thought, well, they've got to be committed to some plan. They've done it again, and now they're sitting with a 200-metre lead. However, we've seen 200 metres come and go in this race. I won't be surprised if we get another lead change.
Absolutely. Looks like Alpha Medica have managed to get the chute out and clean now, so they're back in it. Could be pretty tight for them.
Now Alpha Medica there on the right-hand side of your screen. They've got Dongfeng Race Team firmly in their sights, trying to chase them down. But the Chinese boat looks very strong out in the lead. Still a bit of a split behind them, the rest of the pack, some sailing up towards the right-hand side, some down towards the bottom. Some gains for Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing, so clearly, Richard, we've got some good breeze on this side of the course.
Yeah, absolutely. They're looking nicely pressed up there, doing 13 knots for a while there. Dafeng were doing at 10, so just pushing into them, closing the gap up. Still 160 metres though.
Well, there you can see Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing representing the United Arab Emirates, sailing downwind. They're in second place at the moment, but Ian Walker and his team, they don't want to settle for anything less than first.
No, fierce competitors on board there, but as every sailor in this fleet is, they are some of the most competitive people in the world. What else could drive you to sail around the world like they do?
Well, there you can see Dongfeng Race Team still nicely out in the lead. They look like they're on quite a safe ley line. The distance, their lead has diminished slightly with Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing charging up behind them. Team Brunel now in fourth position, but really very close to Alpha Medica, just hoping for a little puff, a little shift downwind. They can roll over the top. Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing sweeps over across their bow, still in second place, just behind Dongfeng Race Team. There, Team SCA, Sam Davies, solo around the world sailor, comes in from the left-hand side of the screen. Now, Richard, Team SCA, it's your team. What will you be hoping the girls can do now?
Well, it looks like they're starting to put a little bit of pressure on Bauer, so you just keep chipping away. A couple of tidy manoeuvres and you'll pick boats up. So it's all about keeping it cool, keeping it calm, and just taking those opportunities when they present themselves.
And you're hoping that the front four boats in this battle at the moment almost start focusing on each other and start having these little mini competitions, make one slip up, and then that can be the bit where Team SCA come through.
Absolutely. I mean, just look at what's happened. We've seen Alpha Medica go from the lead, and now we're within 30, 40 metres of them with Team SCA now.
Well, let's cut down to the water. Canute, how does it look from down there?
Well, I think we have a very, very exciting bottom rounding, because Dongfeng is desperately trying to work themselves down to the line of Abu Dhabi. And Chris, Abu Dhabi can work themselves and push Dongfeng over the ley line here.
Yeah, they've certainly been working lower for a long time. I've seen Charles has watched them the whole way down, but what we see here, the boats, they're almost both in like the area, it's like the no-go zone where you're coming in too late, and you see already there's going to be big issues on both the boats here. They're in an area where they really can't do a jibe effectively, so I think they're going to have to all go for it early. We can see here already some troubles with Dongfeng, and no, it looks like they're going to jibe okay.
And now Dongfeng has managed to get rid of their A3, but Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing still have the big sail up, and they have to get rid of that big sail. But they can't force Dongfeng. They can't force a starboard port situation, but Abu Dhabi still has to furl in that big sail, and I think Charles Caudrelier once again went for a conservative maneuver, and long term it pays off.
Yeah, it's been going really well for them, but you see here the boats are only one boat length apart, and they're actually both now in good shape. So let's see if we get a split on this next beat. I think Charles is going to go for the left-hand mark, and Ian probably jibe and go for the right-hand mark.
Dongfeng race team coming out in first place from that little battle, very close. I mean, we were talking about a 200-metre lead, and now they're down to half a boat length. Ian Walker and Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing chasing hard in second. Dongfeng race team, Charles Codrelia skipper, round the leeward mark in first place. Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing looking to split, maybe head out to the other side of the upwind course.
This is going to be super exciting. This is it's going to be a big split here. It's really hard to pick what would you do here. Which side would you go? I think really Charles has got to be thinking about getting over and engaging the other boat and covering them.
Well, of course, you're out in the lead here. Charles Codrelia, Dongfeng, just coming out the left-hand side of your screen. Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing now going up the other side of the upwind course. And you'd be expecting the Chinese boat to tack over, play conservatively, and start covering Ian Walker's team.
Absolutely, and it won't take long before that option goes away because of how shifty the breeze is out there at the moment. It's going to be all about staying in face.
Well, there's the battle for third and fourth. Alvi Medica, the young Americans, being chased by Bao Becking's Dutch team, Team Brunel. Both boats, their A3s now furled, and they're approaching those top marks. There you can see them, the bows just approaching. Alvi Medica just trying to find that nice smooth turn round the bottom. Much better furl with that A3. It's still not perfect. You can see as the wind starts picking up the Cuban fibre, it's just stretching the furl out a little bit, but much better than last time.
Yeah, a lot better than last time. And of course here, critical again that they need to be getting this jib in here. Here's Bao, what's he going to do? He may be rolling into attack there. Yes, there goes the dagger board.
But that's a very gutsy manoeuvre from Bao Becking. Nice judgment there, just trying to get onto the inside of Alvi Medica. Alvi Medica then getting themselves back, settled up on an upwind course. Bao Becking couldn't quite live there, so he decided, I'll tack off early and keep my speed. But it's Sam Davies and Team SEA. They've had a problem on the downwind leg.
Yeah, it looks like they're struggling to get that furled away, but it's coming in, so they'll just keep furling and wrap the whole thing up. It's the last time they need it, so just get it safely on the deck, get sheeted on, and get your head into the next upwind leg.
Well, it looked to me like maybe Team SEA sailed a little bit beyond the ley line. Maybe they were forced beyond the ley line with a problem on board the boat, but as you say, they've got that A3 under control. They can drop it now and get themselves around the bottom mark.
Yeah, as you can see, just the leeches of it fluttering up, they start to inflate there, and then you can get yourself in a lot of trouble, so it'd be pretty important to get that thing back down on the deck.
There's the team on board SEA. Sam Davies, solo round the world sailor, 2 Vendée Globes completed for her. She's constructed a very, very important bunch of female sailors who have all got very impressive CVs, Olympic sailors, round the world sailors, a real strong depth of talent on board that boat.
Oh, they're an amazing bunch of women to work with. They inspire us all every day, and the determination levels and the drive they have to compete is just unbelievable, and they really are showing it to all the guys teams that they are serious competitors out there. We're very proud to be working with them.
And of course their performance today in the Team Vestas Wind Import Sanya, it hasn't been their best, but they won in Abu Dhabi, and I remember yesterday Sam Davies saying that they thought the imports were going to be their weakest point. Actually, it's turned out to be the ace up their sleeve.
Well, absolutely, yeah, and I mean that's a sign of the focus of the team. They really have been able to overcome things which have been seen as great hurdles, and they've been basically clawed their way back into this race with good crew work. They've managed to get around all the corners nice and clean.
Well, back up at the front of the course, we've got Dongfeng race team battling it out with Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing. They just had a little bit of a course. This is the final leg. The boats are sailing upwind to the finish. It will be an upwind finish back at the starting area. There you can see in the middle of your picture Charles Codrelia, skipper of Dongfeng race team, the 40-year-old Figaro sailor from France. He's been leading at the moment. This is the home soil for this team. They've been training here, and when you're racing in your home waters, it's always special to get that win.
Oh, it's unbelievably special. I mean, you just couldn't write the script any better than these guys are doing it at the moment.
But of course, he's got to hold off the British sailor Ian Walker, double Olympic medalist, and arguably one of the strongest teams in this year's Volvo Ocean Race.
Oh, unquestionably. I mean, there's some fantastic pedigree out there, and those guys are hungry, and Ian's a very intense competitor. And until that gun goes off, this is far from over. It's going to be a fantastic couple of attacks coming up here.
Well, we can see on the middle of your screen there, Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing getting ready for attack. The crew just loading that windward winch, so they're ready to go if they find the right shift. There's the virtual eye. Mafre still to round that bottom mark. It's been a disappointing race for them.
No, it hasn't been fantastic for those guys. They've really struggled to get it together out there today, but I'm sure it'll come.
Absolutely. I mean, again, there's a real strong bunch of sailors on board that boat. They haven't been doing great in the import today, but their offshore results are improving all the time. Now we're back with Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing vying for that first place. Dongfeng Race Team out on the right-hand side, Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing on the left, trying to come back together. Canute, who do you like the look of?
I think we still like the look of Dongfeng Race Team on our side. They're still in a nice patch of breeze, and as long as they don't take the risk of going too far, I mean, that was what Brunel did.
Yeah, it's been impressive. I think watching Dongfeng and Abu Dhabi, they've both stayed out of trouble, and they've just given themselves the best opportunities of anyone. Their crew haven't been under as much pressure, and I think they're just doing a really nice job. But they are going to be neck and neck, these two boats coming into the finish line.
So the Team Vestas win import race is certainly not over, that's for sure.
Well, we can see from the virtual eye there, again, the tracks of the boats just bending as that breeze shifts. Team Brunel, number 4, they've just done attack. They just had a big wind change. But Dongfeng Race Team, 160 metres in the lead. But they were 200 metres in the lead, so no chance to be complacent yet.
No, absolutely not. And as the wind angles change, that can change a lot. You know, and as we come closer to the land, the shifts are going to be more significant. But that's certainly exciting stuff out there.
Now, Charles Codrelia, the skipper of this team, remember at the bottom of the course, they were going out to the left-hand side, Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing going out to the right-hand side, but the Dongfeng Race Team tacked over, played a little conservative, and actually covered Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing and kept them into second place. So if they can hold them off here, it wasn't luck, there was a decision.
No, there was definitely a conscious decision to put what was termed as a loose cover in there and sort of cover them and try and stay in phase. You want to be on the same tack as the other boat and close enough for them to be in the same breeze, so you're having the same effects. Then you can sort of limit your risk. It's all about risk management from here on out.
Well, we're coming down to about 500 metres to go to the finish line. Dongfeng Race Team approaching that right-hand ley line. I'd expect to see the crew start making their moves, getting ready for attack. And now you can see 1 or 2 sailors maybe just peeling off the windward side, making sure all the sheets are ready. When they get that right shift in the breeze, when the gusts are perfect, Charles Codrelia, he'll signal the tack and they will sail that boat into the finish. And hopefully, barring any major shifts in favour of Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing, Dongfeng Race Team could claim the victory here.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at the trails here, they've both got at least one tack to do each here. Dongfeng Race Team, they'll be doing it within seconds. They'll be getting ready to roll over here. Here they go right now. They're going to roll over, and this should be their last tack. So if it's a clean one, they get up to speed. This should be them into the finish.
Looked like a very nice tack. Not a lot of speed lost there. Very quick with the helm, but it didn't matter. It's nice flat water. You can throw the boat around quite quickly when it gets flat like this. They're now sailing over the top of Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing, or at least they will do in the next 100 metres or so. Once they've done that, they will put Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing in their pocket, and they might just start to feel safe.
Well, yeah, no, we're pretty suspicious people, we sailors, so you wouldn't even dare tempt it. But I'm sure the guys will feel a bit of emotion starting to well up inside, and I think it'd be pretty fair to say that a celebration could well be in order.
Well, the virtual eye all but confirming it now, and in fact, there you can see it on your screen. Dongfeng Race Team crossing ahead, comfortably ahead of Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing. It's been a fantastic race, but it looks like Dongfeng Race Team took the lead and managed to hold off the competition.
Absolutely. I mean, it's these guys have, well, you can sum it up as a class act. They've done a fantastic job out there. They've managed themselves, the boat, the sails and the fleet beautifully. So here we go. I think Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing coming into their last tack as well. Should happen within seconds and they'll be on the ley line.
Interesting to know that Ian Walker and his team on board Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing tacking to follow behind Dongfeng Race Team. Obviously they've decided, you know what, there isn't really too much to be had here. We're into the final metres of this beat, and second, we're happy with second. It's a good result for us.
Well, yet another podium for Ian. He's on the podium every single import race. That's pretty impressive.
There you can see on the right-hand side of your picture, Dongfeng race team now just meters to go before they cross the finish line. And there it is, they've crossed the finish line, and the crew, very, very well-deserved celebrations.
Oh, it's extremely well done. Huge, well, just a brilliant performance. I don't think you can really say just how well these guys managed to dispose with just 8 crew. I mean, it's close to magical. You know, they really do a fantastic job out there. It's really tough. I'm sure they'll all be looking for a bit of oxygen right now. They'll be tired boys. But of course, now next challenge right ahead. They've got to get that boat in on the dock. That's got to get reloaded and get their heads in tomorrow. And here comes Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing Team. They've just come over in a solid second.
Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing takes second at the Team Vestas Wind import race in Sanya.
Looks pretty tight here between Alpha Medica and Team Brunel as well.
Well, it's been a fantastic race for Dongfeng race team. We're just wondering, Canute, how does Kit feel about all this?
Well, Kit, you must be proud, right?
Yeah, really proud of the boys. The boys do really well. I'm so happy for the boys.
We have a very close race here to the finish line between Alvi Medica and Team Brunel. They are extremely close. Alvi Medica got a very nice left shift here. And this is definitely not over for third place, although Team Alvi Medica has the inside track, and certainly if they manage to complete their tack here, they will be in good shape for that third place. Which means we have 4 import races so far and 4 winners. Like we have 3 legs and 3 winners. I don't think that has ever happened in the history of the Volvo Ocean Race. And Alvi Medica is just now tacking and just about crossing the finish line and securing the third place.
Yeah, and here Team SCA coming in. They're looking nice pressure coming in from the right-hand side there. Should easily have Maffrey tucked away, I think, to a solid 5th. Team Brunel just coming up to the finishing line as we speak.
Well, once Alvi Medica and Team Brunel locked horns, they really didn't let go of each other. A battle all the way to the finish line. Alvi Medica just narrowly claiming 3rd place. Team Brunel in 4th. Behind them, Team SEA coming in on the starboard ley line. Maffrey still halfway down the leg.
Yeah, the girls will be, I think they'll probably be a little bit disappointed with that first run when they got a bit trapped in that lighter air, but they've done a fantastic job to really bring the game back up to the fleet, and they've done it all through crew work and manoeuvring.
Now, of course, we've talked about the import racing being part of really an overall strategy. It's a practice for the opening course of the offshore leg. So with your team, how do they approach the import? What lessons can you learn from it?
Well, you learn something new every day, and for us it's all this is invaluable. But of course, you know, tomorrow morning we're going to see the same, when they're going to have to sail the same course before they go across the bay to the rounding mark and then go out to sea for the leg. So they're going to do this all again.
For Team SEA, Sam Davies is skipper, sailing across the line. You can see Team Brunel in front of them. They stopped the boat there. You know, well, Bauer-Becking would be pleased with that result. He said before that he doesn't care about the import races, but actually they're proving to be quite important.
Well, I think they are, because you know, now they're going to be the tiebreaker in all of the results as we go around the world. And as the racing is turning out at the moment, the points are going to be super, super close. So no, I think it's probably just a statement by Bauer. He's a pretty competitive man, and a race is a race for these guys. It doesn't matter what's up for takes.
Well, there is today's winning boat. They won the Leg 3 offshore race to Sanya, and now they win the Team Vestas Wind import race Sanya. You couldn't have it better than that, could you?
No, you can't have it better than that. And I mean, what a wonderful day for the sport and for the Volvo Ocean Race, sailing around here in absolutely pristine conditions. Fantastic result. You know, these guys deserve to be at the top. They've sailed a flawless race today.
And of course, Charles Quadrilla, not only are they training themselves to get better for the Volvo Ocean 65, but they've also trained up a squad of 6 young Chinese sailors who don't really have the kind of credentials that would normally get you on board a race like this.
No, but they've got a lot of attitude, and you know, that's a key component to this race. You can have all the experience in the world, but if you don't have attitude, you're not going to go anywhere. So it's a nice combination. It's obviously working very well.
Well, meanwhile, still out on the course, Maffrey bringing up the back of this fleet at the moment. Iker Martinez, the normal skipper, he's had to take his turn out. Xabi Fernandez is skipper. Andre Fonseca is the helm. Richard, why do you think it didn't go so well for them?
Well, they've had a couple of changes out there. I think obviously when you've got your skipper coming out, that always makes it difficult, and Shabby's really had to step up to the plate to take this on, which means a big role switch for him and within the whole dynamics of the crew. I think basically it all comes down to it's all about crew work and teamwork, and when you make those sort of significant changes, it's hard to settle. So it's probably a lot of little things that you take away by just being a bit of a tighter team. It just takes time on the water to get these things right. It'll come. Don't underestimate these guys. They'll be back.
Well, the Team Vestas win import race Sanya, it certainly didn't disappoint. It's been some of the best racing that we've seen. Canute, you're out in the water. Just wondering, what's your final thoughts? Canute, I just wonder if you can hear me there. Just wondering what your final thoughts were from the action today.
Well, we were just discussing that, and then obviously the early leader, Alvi Medica, must be slightly disappointed because they had a good leader, and one sort of big mishap with the generator cost them at least the lead. So that was one thing, but Dongfeng came out as the one that was having tight maneuvers, taking things easy, being very conservative, Chris, weren't they?
Yeah, you got to take your hat off to Charles and the Dongfeng team. Like they sailed smart, and the thing with them, when they had their crew work in order, they ended up quite aggressive. You saw them at the top marks taking different options and pushing hard when they had all their mechanics in place. So they did a lot of tack sets at the top mark. They did it twice. At the bottom mark, we saw them jibe around and pick the track side again. So you can see when they can push, they really do push those guys, and I think it's just a really good effort. Like Ian Walker and Abu Dhabi, they had a great day, and it shows you how good Dongfeng were today.
And Chris, you stupid question, but you obviously miss being out there.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's funny, the closer you are to the action, the more you miss it.
Well, Canute, Chris, Kit, thank you very much for all your insight out in the water at the moment. But I'm just wondering if I can ask you one more question. If you could just pick one pivotal moment out in the water from Dongfeng race team. Kit, what do you think it was that put these guys into the lead?
I think it's our hometown, so we have a really good confidence, and it's with a lot of local knowledge, I think. So we lead the race, and then we win again. It's another history. So I'm really happy for the boys.
So it will be a good day on the shore base of Dongfeng race team this evening.
Yeah, we'll have a good evening. I'm pretty sure we'll have a good.
Chris, a pivotal moment in the race. What do you think it was?
I think it was their move at the top mark when they went to the right-hand mark. It was a jibe set. It was a difficult one, but they took a big gain out of the guys in the middle. It set them up nicely for the bottom mark rounding. And they just did all their mechanics well. They didn't have any major issues at any stage.
Right, then we are looking forward obviously to the leg start tomorrow, where we're going to do a similar lap as the start, and then we're going to head out to the Buddha, which is sort of an hour and a half sailing from here. And last race the wind did all kinds of things on the way to the Buddha, and we all remember Puma Ocean Racing leading on the way back from the Buddha and ending up an hour behind everyone. That cost them 2 weeks to catch up.
Yeah, it cost them 2 weeks to catch up, and it forced them basically around another weather system, and believe it or not, they ended up in the lead after it all. So when you wind back the clock, it was a mistake from 2 weeks prior that put them into the lead. So sailing can be a funny sport at times.
So we are definitely back tomorrow with some really exciting racing kit, and we hope to hear more from you as well. Anything you want to say to all the sailing friends you have now in China?
I would say to all the fans in China, please come to the dock and give it a support and follow the race.
Well, fantastic image there of Dongfeng race team, the winners, the crew, very proud of their performance. Thanks very much to Canute, Chris and Kit out in the water for all your insight. Richard, let's take a little bit of a look at the scoreboard from that race and let's see how it affects. Dongfeng race team, the winners first place. Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing battled all the way, happy to claim second place, but the real close battle between Alva Medica and Team Brunel, third and fourth.
Yeah, they'll be a little bit disappointed about that. I think Team Alpha Medica, they had it. It was there. It was in their fingertips. It slipped through just putting a little bit too pressure on themselves, but that's, you know, hopefully they can take that away and bring it into the next import race in Auckland there, and we'll see them back. And Bauer, I think he might be a little bit disappointed with that one.
Let's take a look at the series now after that import. Abu Dhabi Ocean Racing leading, starting to work out a little bit of a lead as well. 8 points, 4 points ahead of Team Brunel and Bauer Becking. Third, Dongfeng Race Team, they get themselves now onto the podium, just pushing Team SCA off the podium.
Absolutely, we'll have to make sure that Sam and the team put in a massive performance in Auckland and get themselves back up there.
Well, Richard, I'm just wondering, any final thoughts as we think about now the focus shifting to our leg start tomorrow?
Absolutely, well, it's game on. The focus is a big shift. I mean, straight off the water, the boats come in, they get cleaned out, they get loaded, they get checked for tomorrow's departure, straight into the weather briefings for tomorrow, and now we're going to be talking about the first 3 or 4 days at sea, how we're going to mow the boats, you know, what weather they're going to be expecting over the next 22 days. And of course there's the emotion and everything else that builds into it. Your last night in a dry bed for a long time, you know, you're leaving friends and family, you're going back to sea. For some of us, that's a good thing. My wife gets pretty upset if I spend too much time at home.
Well, of course, if you want to join us for the action tomorrow, Sanya looks set to provide another fantastic day of racing. The show starts tomorrow, 1400 local time Sanya, 600 UTC. We're going to follow the beginning of leg 4, the race all the way to Auckland. Join us then as we continue to race on the Volvo Ocean Race 2014-15.